Hello, we're back. You can't see me now, but you know that I'm here. You can hear the voice and you sense the man behind the voice. This will become more important as we carry out our theme this morning. Today we're going to discuss one of the really great mysteries that surround the living experience. And it's especially appropriate today due to the loss of one of the really special people in our larger family, my nephew Josh. And there's others of you who have lost very special people. Or let us say that they have passaged beyond. You know, friends, the really big mystery that we're going to relate to today is, what is this body? What are we beyond the body? And when it passes or melts away, who are we? And I think it's a good place to begin by noting that in many respects, our bodies are containers. Containers necessary here in this world of existence to translate that mysterio, that sustenance that life supports and that we are immersed in. The containers are necessary from the standpoint that they can infiltrate, they can integrate into this point in the journey, which finds us in existence, displaying life's wonder where both dark and light are entwined. And we spoke to that before. So the body then becomes a very important asset. And not only does it define our individuality, but it also represents the soul and the psyche in existence. Or in other words, it is immersed in it. And when we speak of containers, that there are containers within inside of containers. Sure, we build a house to put our garage in, we built the garage to put the car in, and then we put our bodies inside a car. And there are also interesting and significant containers that live within us. Certainly our mind and cognition is such a container. Attitudes, very important containers. Maybe more fluid, but still have much to do with the way we see our world. And even to the deepest level, to the single cell. Every cell, every container is not only enlivened by this thing of life, by this golden nectar, but is also immersed in it. So it makes sense when people say that their truth lies within, because there's no distractions there, and only the glow and radiance of what we have done with what life has given us. This became really clear for me about the third or fourth edge experience, in that time of dying, something that you will join me in at one point. But then being very much conscious and aware that I still lived, although I'm looking back at a smashed body, a frozen body, a body on fire, whatever the circumstances were, it became really clear to me that we do exist without the body, and that we can choose to always be present without the body. But if we're going to be here in the existence experience, the body or that container is critical to who we are. So my young nephew, Josh, 18 years of age, one of the most beautiful people that one would ever meet, and whose hands were extended to every need, abused his container on one difficult night a few weeks ago, poured too much alcohol in it, and now has left our physicality. Josh was somebody to be appreciated from all levels. And it's a thing to remember about our containers. We are responsible for what we put into them and how we utilize them. Josh utilized his very well up to this last day of his. He was the young man who picked up after his father committed suicide a little over a year ago. He took his depressed and pharmaceutical mother into his care, who has not yet recovered from that earlier loss. And his lovely sister Autumn is now without a big brother. So there are many implications to how we utilize our container. But again, they're very critical in assessing the world around us and expressing the functions of consciousness. You know, if we spend too much time on the container, then we err in the opposite direction. And we meet that concern of the early Greek philosophers and even the spiritualists of today, who sometimes picture our psyche as being entrapped in our mind, or that the soul is imprisoned in the body. That need not be our place in this. In fact, it is that the soul and the psyche moves along with the body. So not only is our body enlivened in this world of existence by this masterito, or this sustenance of life, but it also attracts it, so that we live both within and about our body. But on a day-to-day basis, for the life to achieve the goal of illumination and understanding, it works for us. Not only do our bodies help divine our individuality, but they allow us to move down this road of life, and it is a road, with a little less duress. I know the harmful part, or the hard part of bodies and containers, are that they only have a few or a limited number of apertures, or places where you pour things in, take things out. Well, for our body, friends, one that has been far too overlooked in recent history is the senses. That is the porous membrane in which we can reach out into the world and also learn from the many intelligences that surround us. This right here, this is not empty space, but rather it is full of this life, and we are constantly immersed in it, even though we sometimes don't pay enough attention to it because it's not immediately visible. I should like to liken it to the air. The air is this compound element, so incredibly important to life as we know it. But unless it becomes diminished or overly polluted, we don't really know that it's there either, and yet we imbibe from it constantly. So too, this fluidity of life from this river of life which we have spoken to. One can be immersed in something and be constantly involved in integration, extending it, bringing it in, and giving it back again. And we don't have to intellectualize it, except that we do need to know that this space is there and available for us. It is a space of potential. It is a space where worlds, as we are coming together, will interchange. It is the space where windows into other realities open. On a beautiful note here recently, I want to share with you the visitation of a great being right about the time of this family tragedy. Friends, this is a beautiful story, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time with it, but I will do more in a presentation soon. But recently, I heard the scream of what I thought was a hawk or an eagle. And I just happened to have my camera available, so I took a long distance shot. And I soon came to realize, as I was walking with some trepidation towards the tree in which this being inhabited, that it was not afraid of me. As a matter of fact, as I went towards it, it started to flutter down and come towards me. No one's really sure what this bird is, and I don't think it matters, because I think it really manifested as a voice out of life's ethers. Because neither did we know what it is, but it was present, and it left an incredible impression on myself, some other elders, and a bunch of children. But I alone took the opportunity to approach it, and as I did, it opened its wings as though to envelop me, which is, by the way, what the natural world does. It constantly invites us in to be more than the human-only intelligence, into much more than the human-only world. As I got closer, it was most incredible. At this point, this being is about 6 feet off the ground, and it comes out and puts a talon on my shoulder. And I want you to study the incredible mystery and the beauty in this face. But it didn't end there. At this point, I have my camera on the other shoulder and I'm clicking it, and when I look back later, I had a lot of leaves, but I also had this incredible last shot. And here, my friends, if you can see that, I think we're looking deep, deep into life, beyond that one last horizon, and onward through the wings and the wisdom of a being that has come to say, please be present when the call goes out to come home. So that was a visitation, one amongst others, that I share with you, because the spaces that surround our containers are alive. And though much of our awareness lives within the container, it makes sense to constantly embrace this living world. And to that end, a little bit of a caution against the way we have come to intellectualize our world. And sometimes we've given it just a flat space as words on paper, or flat screens on TVs and computers, and have lost some of the depth of life, lost some of its magic, some of its mystery. And when we do that, we often are comfortable reflecting on facts about life, but we haven't necessarily fully experienced the moment or the life that surrounds them. For instance, if we say that we understand water, it's more than H2O. It has many faces. So for me, to really know the truth of water, you have to get in it, or you have to drink of it. Again, we have to have this central relationship through our being, our container, and this world around us. For me, it's just not enough to say that water is H2O. That may be true, but the deeper truth, I believe, is in the presence of that. You can't say that you know a tomato when you see a picture of it. It's just like you didn't know me from behind the door. You knew something of me. But please, I think that we need to allow more of the living, breathing, animate world into our life, and not to be satisfied with the intellectualized walls that create a fairly flat environment around us. I'd like to reach back here and pull a little friend of mine with his cooperation, which might not be forthcoming, you squiggly little guys. All right, I think I have such one. Now, I'm holding this little guy tightly because he's part of the message. So friends, going forward, living more intimately with our world and accepting more completely our place in it, understanding that the container of the body both must be utilized in beautiful and giving ways, transferring the thing of life in and out of this realm. But it comes time when it also must be let go. And when your life has been full and complete, there's nothing more to fear. There will be another room in your house of life. For Josh, does he walk with the angels? I think so. Will we walk with the angels? Perhaps my wife said it best on the morning of the news of that tragedy, when she said, Stephen, we just don't hug enough. How true that is. Along with the air and the mustero, that substance of life, the invisible things in our life are often not given enough attention. Friendships must be more than a handshake, although it's a good place to begin. But emotions are everywhere, and we're very good at hugging in the face of loss, celebration, or hurt. But we need to recognize that we are living, breathing, and giving beings. So if we want to know a frog, I think we need to be willing to sit out and hear its voice. We may even want to kiss it. Now it could be said that we really know it. And if I put her up to my ear, she has something to say. She's saying, ah, but not to be separated from the heavens, nor to be lost from the stars which guide us, nor to be removed from the natural rhythms of this special land, to know the flight of the birds and hear the whispers in the wind and the song of the brook, and not to diminish the heart and soul of one another, to support and to connect constantly with those of our family, friends, and loves. All of this and more, and the horizon is soon opening before us. So another message from this friend: it is time to leapfrog. Oh, now it doesn't want to go. It was interesting, while I held it, it deposited this huge amount of eggs. So I think it speaks to the validity and the wisdom of the moment. Well, I can't believe this wild frog is just sitting here in my hands, but we'll give it its due. It's almost like that bird. And whose beauty and who knows? Friends, have a good day, and we'll see you back here soon. Thank you. Wow.